Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another large block ship. This thing that I'm currently standing on is called the Quartzite Flak Frigate, which is this lovely thing over here. So this is a well-armed ship powered by both hydrogen and ion thrusters. We've got custom guns, we've got Gatling guns, we've got assault cannons, and a teeny tiny interior for you to walk around with all the basic stuff you need for survival mode. So pressing F10 and find this in the spawn menu, the Quartzite Flak Frigate is 1,796 large blocks, using pretty much all the DLC packs. We can see here a nice lot of information about it, such as why the design is as it is. So simply give this a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, have a very quick tour of the interior, then we'll drive around for a bit, maybe find some space pirates, and if they don't spawn, we'll slam it into an asteroid and see what happens with this ship. So my character can once just stay on top, and this is what we get at the very front for the Quartzite Flak Frigate. So right in the very middle, we got ourselves a Gatling gun for some automated defense against any kind of pesky drones or any kind of missiles coming towards you. On the left and right in the middle, we got ourselves some artillery guns to manually blast your enemies with. Then as we were to move further down, we then got our windows where we can just about see our cockpit, drive this thing around, with a camera right below there to help precisely aim everything and to see what's going on all around you. Moving slightly below there, we got ourselves a assault turret for once again some more automated firepower. And we can just about make out a hydrogen thruster right below there between our magnetic plates. If you were to move all the way up once again, start to move around onto the side, here we go, that's all we can see. So there's the side of the artillery, there's the side of the Gatling gun, there's the first of many ion thrusters that go all the way around this ship, there's another Gatling gun, here is one of our two custom guns to blast enemies with, which is 8 autocannons on a hinge on a rotor, so it's all ready to go and set up without you needing to do anything. We also have some fantastic use of our random blocks, as well as an access panel and a rotor head, just for a bit of decoration on this turret. That's where to move around onto the side. There's a very clear view as our access panel, our rotor head, and then a piston head. There's where to move along onto this side. There's our doorway to get in and out. There's our connector to dock this up. And then the first of many hydrogen thrusters that also help push this ship around. If you were to drop down and come into this section, we've got a few more hydrogen and ion thrusters, so some to move you up, some to slow you down. And as we move around onto the side here, another Gatling gun, even more hydrogen thrusters. Then as we were to move around towards the very back of this thing, this is what's going to push us around, which is 2 large hydrogen thruster, then 8 large ions, which will give you a nice bit of speed. Now at the back here, unlike the rest of the ship, it's actually a bit of a dead zone. There's no turret coverage, so it's kind of like an artificial weak point on this ship, which I thought was very nice. Whether it's intended or not, it's just something I thought I'd point out, because this thing does have a lot of turrets on there for the size of the ship, but if your character was say sitting in here, you're now perfectly covered from all the guns. You can easily start grinding your way into the ship without any risk of being shot. Anyway, moving up like this and looking down, turning off my light once again, even more hydrogen thrusters, even more ion thrusters. Moving along to here, there's your antenna to make sure you can always find it. Some more great use of our rounded steel blocks. There's an ore detector, there's an antenna, there's a column with a pillar on top. There's where I'm standing next to 2 top-mounted cameras, and there's our guns at the very front. Moving all the way down underneath it, putting my light on once again, there's a little assault cannon turret. Over there we've got ourselves another ion thruster, there's another connector, a large hydrogen thruster, and all the way along towards the very back there, even more thrusters. And there we go! That's a very brief look around the outside of the Quartzite Flak Frigate. And it's bloody fantastic how it's all been set up. It kind of looks like that ship out of Firefly, but it's been sort of retrofitted to be more flat, more flush, rather than being very rounded. And of course it's got one hell of a lot more guns all the way around it. But anyway, now what I can do is just grab hold of my character, now go into the door on the side, and have a look around the interior. So over here, opening up this doorway, landing myself down, and now we don't have to actually turn around and close the door, because there is an auto door and airlock script on here, so there we go, that's now closed up. Now we just turn around, open this up, and this is what we're first greeted with. So on the right hand side, we've got ourselves an armory locker to load ourselves up whatever equipment we need. There's a battery right there, and now we've got a few ways to go. What we're going to do first of all is move all the way up, so this is your small living quarters. We've got some beds around the room, a chair and desk. We should have a toilet and shower set up in one of these little hidey holes. There's the toilet, there's the shower, and we've got some more beds in the kitchen block on the opposite side. But yes, that little drop down point on the left hand side basically takes us to where we just were, just on the very opposite, so I suppose we just go back to where we just were through this one. So dropping all the way down and turning around, opening up this, if we were to move to the opposite side, there's a doorway to the ladder that we just saw at the very top. But in this room, we've got some shelves around the room for some decoration, there's a programmable block for a custom turret, there's an armor locker to once again load yourself up. Facing towards the back, there's your gravity generator, there's a light panel, Then facing towards the front, there's an access panel or even one of the connection points for our air vents. Then facing towards the front there's a reactor, there's a survival kit, there's a basic refinery, there's another reactor. Then opening up this doorway and then moving towards the front here's our main cockpit to drive this thing around. We also have a few seats for your passengers to sit on and, well, twiddle their thumbs while you're driving this thing around. And I think that's about it, the interior of this ship. So hopping into the cockpit, first person view, this is all we can see, so it's going to be very difficult to actually see where you're going without a camera on the front. Into third person view, pressing number 1, these are the controls we get. So number 1 is going to be for your artillery guns and the front to manually fire them both together. Number 2 is for the camera that sits just below our cockpit so we can get a good view of what's going on. Then number 3 and number 4 is for your top mounted cameras right behind that Gatling gun at the very front. Coming out there and pressing number 5, that's for your large hydrogen thruster below the ship, turn that on and off, just to save on a bit of hydrogen. Number 6 for your assault cannon below the ship, turn that on and off. Number 7 for your custom guns on the side to turn them on and off. Number 8 for your Gatling guns at the front, turn that on and off. And on to tab number 2, we then got our magnetic plates, our connectors, our antenna, auto detector, our jump drive, where we can jump 5 kilometers. Coming out of that, number 8 and number 9 is going to be to turn up and down the range of this thing, so we now move it all the way up and get a lot bigger range. There we go, we now do 404 kilometers, and so on and so forth. Over to tab number 3, we then got controls for our O2HU generator, our hydrogen tanks to stockpile on and off, our hydrogen thrusters all around the ship to turn them on and off, and then the same controls for the ion thrusters. Onto tab number 4, we got nothing else, so it's time to drive this thing around. First of all, making sure that one's turned on, and now we can move forwards. So here we go, as you'd expect, we are bloody fast moving forwards thanks to all the thrusters at the back. Slowing down we are a bit slower, but luckily we do have just about enough gyroscope controls to do 180 to stop ourselves a lot quicker. There we go. Able to move left, and move right, some very respectable control with that. Moving down, and then moving up. Moving up feels very fast, but not as fast as moving forwards. Moving down feels about the same as left and right. Then as for gyroscope controls, as you saw there, despite it being a very large and very heavy feeling ship, we've got plenty of control over this, so we can just maneuver this thing around if we need to, do a 180 to slow us down a bit quicker, and to, well, get through some very tight areas without damaging the ship. But now with all that done and out of the way, what we're going to do is now try and find some space pirates where, oh, there was a mayday right down there. That was very good timing on that. Now I've got to drive all the way down and actually figure out where that was. I don't really want to skip ahead and say try and teleport myself over to them, so last time I did that, they sort of just vanished into nothingness, and I had to slide myself into an asteroid. So I'm going to sit here, wait for them to pop up again, and try and reline this, and then go from there. And here we go, I believe what I found was the pirate mayday signal, which is this thing over here. They do have a gun on there. In fact, there it is, that just confirmed what I was looking for. And so I'm to actually move all the way up to it, third person view, hiding the HUD, and there we go, we now watch all the guns open fire onto it. That's where they get a bit closer, the autocannons is now engaged, there we go, there goes the custom guns. That's one hell of a lot of destruction coming off this ship. Zooming away just a little bit and actually turning around so we get both guns on there. There we go, look at that lovely trail coming off them. They are not going to stand a chance against this ship, although it is kind of unfair. For once, I'm actually in the advantage against space pirates, where they have barely any guns on there. So bring up the HUD once again, coming to the camera and actually having a look on there. Doesn't really look like they've got anything else on there. So to finish off this video, and to finish off the ship, what I'm going to do is reverse this thing all the way up, charge straight along towards it, slam straight into it, and see what kind of destruction I can cause. So coming out there, hiding the HUD once again. There we go, just making sure I'm realigning this thing quite nicely. And in 3, 2, 1. There we go, that was a lovely crash into the space pirates. Not too much damage was done to this ship. The cockpit is still in one piece, just about. I have to hop out here for the moment and actually clamp myself down. Look at that, that's exceptionally close to the cockpit. And we are still in one piece, fully functional. And I'm not too sure what's going on there, but that's kind of scary, so we're just going to leave the room. But yes, that is that for the Quartzite Flak Frigate. It's a lovely little ship to do in world. If you do want to have something with a nice bit of firepower on there, with a small interior to walk around in, and, well, live your life in survival mode. So there'll be a link to it in the description below if you wish to download and play around with it yourself. I'd recommend you do, as well as a link to the Skybox I'm currently using. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.